Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. I'm Katya and you're watching my YouTube channel. My YouTube channel is about career development, my own path, the struggles and everything that I learn and feel like could share with you. Today I want to talk about the importance of taking rest and the hustle culture and my own experience with that. So let's just dive in. So let me start with basically just my personal experience on this. So my the first time I met with burnout, and I just realized this when I was preparing for this video. At the time I didn't even know that that was burnout, but a couple of years ago, this was before I was working for the publishing company where I'm the editor of ELLE and COSMOPOLITAN. So before that I was freelancing, same as now. I just didn't have any big gigs. I was literally going from week to week, not having much money, just enough to pay the rent and to survive on cup noodles. It was quite bad. So I had a few small gigs, but I was really looking for that break, to really get my career going and to get something where I would just be comfortable and wouldn't have to worry if I'm gonna have food the next week or the next month. So I got this opportunity to work with someone who wanted to build a fashion website, and they were looking for someone who would edit and basically prepare all the content. It was a completely new thing, so I had to come up with the concept, I had to write all the content, and this was like a 1-month trial period through a government-run program. And basically this person, the CEO of the company, who wanted to make money with a fashion website, he gave me some goals to reach, and he said, if you reach these goals, I will employ you and you're gonna run this thing on your own. And so imagine, like, I was super excited for the opportunity and I was preparing to give my all to make this work. The whole thing was, the goals were reachable, but the whole thing was completely utopic, because he thought that after a month that the website is already gonna produce income, that we're already gonna have advertisers, and it's so unrealistic. I don't even know what we were thinking at that time, but he learned somewhere that fashion websites are doing good, and he saw a gap in the market in Slovenia and thought that only with CEO that we would just like be like on the very top of Google search, and it was completely unrealistic. But I was working day in, day out. I don't even know, like, I was completely devoted, dedicated to the project, and I was giving it my all, and I did everything I could to secure that job. I'm not gonna slip that away. So what that meant was I was working insane hours, and because I was worrying so much and like thinking so much of like how to do this, how to generate income, how to just make it work, I stopped sleeping. So I didn't sleep for a couple of days, and imagine, like, after a couple of days, even after one day, you feel like completely ruined. After a couple of days I felt like a fucking zombie. I couldn't do anything, I couldn't think straight, and I just felt like my immune system was just like going like really bad, also because like I was really not eating well at that time. I didn't have money to buy healthy food. So I ended up going to my doctor and telling her like what's going on and that I cannot sleep, and she actually prescribed me sleeping pills, and she prescribed me some antidepressants. I didn't take the antidepressants, but I did take the sleeping pills because I just like, I couldn't sleep at all. Like I maybe slept like 2-3 hours per night, and that was just not enough. Like it was so crazy. And finally I could sleep a little bit, but the worry didn't go away. I was so stressed, and after a month, like I reached all my targets and I didn't get the job, which was, of course not, because it wasn't realistic. Like, oh my god, like yeah, that was my first burnout, and that was years ago. And as I said in one of my previous videos, I'm not the kind of person who would just hustle and who would be a career junkie or like a workaholic or whatever you want to call it. I need a healthy balance. I need my rest time. Also because I do so much of the work is creative, and I just cannot think and produce good ideas and good content if I don't have the downtime, you know? And so a couple of years later, I'm already working at the publishing company. I'm already the editor of ELLE, of Cosmopolitan, and as a freelancer, as an entrepreneur, I work on several projects at once. And in the magazine world, it just so happens that so many of the deadlines fall on the same timeline. Like they're very close to each other, so sometimes you need to batch out like a lot of content, and it just gets a bit like overwhelming and insane. And so I think this was 2021, so last year, yeah, that was last year. So last year I actually experienced one burnout, and one that was like quite close. Yeah, that was two. Yeah, okay, I'm just trying to get my story straight. And again, it was very similar. So I was just really stressed that I'm gonna manage to produce everything on time, and not just produce everything on time, but that is gonna be quality stuff. Like as a writer, as an editor, you want to put out things that have value and that people are gonna find useful, or they're gonna see themselves in your story. You just want to give out the content that is meaningful. I don't want to just like be this robot typing thing and just do everything on autopilot. Like I've done that with some of the content that I had to produce for our websites, for our digital media, and I literally gave up almost all of that. Like I'd rather not have that, because it's consistently like every month you need to produce, I don't know, it was like 20-30 articles, which means like one every day, coming up with all those ideas, making the articles being valuable and having any kind of impact on the readers is almost impossible. And I wasn't working for only one of those websites, it was like 2 or 3 at the same time, and it just got like so insane. So yeah, my second burnout was yeah, again, like my sleep was really bad, my immune system dropped. I felt like I'm gonna lose my mind, and I'm a very anxious person. So going to bed, like I would always think about what I need to do, how I need to do it, how I'm gonna write it. Like I would literally start writing stories in my mind before I go to sleep, and I'm like, just stop, like don't do it. It's so hard. So I really cannot do that for long periods of time. Like, you know, I can live a week like that, maybe a week and a half. I'm like, okay, this needs to be done, fine. But then like I sometimes I would get sick after that, my immune system would weaken, and yeah, just overall like I would start feeling really bad. So in 2021, I really realized how important it is for me to balance that like work and rest time. And rest time for me means, you know, I'm doing literally nothing. Like the best thing that I can do for me is just like lay in bed, watch Netflix, or maybe read books, or even maybe not even read books, because that already takes like brain power. I just want to like, I do nothing, I don't know, go out to a pub, go to hang out, socialize, just, you know, take your mind off of work. But yeah, the best thing for me is just binge watch on like sitcoms and things like that. That really calms me, and I can really rest doing that. So that is one thing. Another one is just trying to change the environment. So either like just go out for a walk, or the best thing, or the thing I love to do most, is just go travel, like take a short break, go somewhere for a week, preferably somewhere warm if it's winter here. That also like completely recharges me and just kind of like gives me new ideas, and like creates this new motivation and new drive in me. Also because the thing with writing and this business, anything creative that you're doing, you need to put yourself out of that situation in order to get really good ideas or to be inspired. Like, you need to change your environment, you need new experiences, you need to talk to people. You know, if you're just gonna be sitting there with your laptop trying to figure it out, you're not getting any kind of stimulus, you're not getting any kind of new perspectives. It's just you in your brain and what you already know. And so many times, if you want to create something new, something different, you just have to go out and experience things, and it's just gonna naturally come to you. So that's also one thing that I think is very important with, yeah, I would say mostly with like creative businesses. One example is also, and I think this is something that a lot of people can relate, I get some of the best ideas when I'm taking a shower. And I was reading about this. It's just because like you're doing something that is so routine that your mind doesn't have to think about it. Like, you don't have to think, oh, now I have to open the water, take my sponge, put some shower gel on it, I'm gonna rub my, you know, left arm first. You don't have to think about that. So your brain is, you know, free to do the thinking, to go wherever it wants to go. And yeah, my mind always wanders, and so many times it just goes exactly to the place where I felt stuck before. And I would get these really cool ideas while I'm taking the shower. And this can be also done with like cooking. A lot of people love cleaning, not me. So anything that is like kind of like routine and you don't have to put too much brain power in it, like you do it on autopilot, like those kind of tasks are also very good. You know, it's not resting, it's not like you're not sitting and watching TV, but you're doing something so routine that your mind kind of like has the time to rest. And like, but the mind, you know, is never just quiet unless you're I don't know, meditating and you're like this expert meditator and can like eliminate all the thoughts. I'm definitely not there. But otherwise, yeah, your brain is gonna wander, and you know, it's gonna subconsciously, without you even trying, go to that place and solve the problem, because now it's like, oh, I have time to rest, I'm not bothered by, you know, 3,000 things, and you're not forcing anything. So it's just gonna naturally do that. So I really recommend, if you ever feel stuck, if you're not inspired or motivated, just try to like do something else, break the cycle, go out for a walk, or I don't know, yeah, clean, take a long bath, anything that you feel like you can rest your mind. So yeah, in conclusion, I think finding that balance that works for you, because everybody is different, right? I know that some people really enjoy their jobs, they don't mind working for 14 hours per day, they don't need 9 hours of sleep per night like I do. So it's all about like what works for you. But if you see that you're starting to get irritated, if you see that, you know, your sleep is not proper anymore, that, you know, your eating habits had changed, or that you're just getting more stressed, that your immune system is dropping, all those kind of signs that are telling you basically your body is just saying rest. So I found that the most important thing to do a good job is to take the time to rest, to take the time off. And you know, nothing in this whole planet is as important as our health, both mental and physical. And everything else can wait, because if you're not going to be rested, if you cannot, you know, be your full self, if you cannot operate on your, you know, full potential, then, you know, you're just not as useful. And most of the managers, most of the editors, most of your superiors will understand that. So you just need to speak out. And this is also something that I learned. Like I very rarely took any vacation days. I would, you know, take a vacation and go everywhere with my laptop and just work from there, which is insane. Like, don't do that. Don't do that. You need a break. And it was so hard for me to say to my editors, like, oh, I'm going on vacation, I'm gonna be offline for 2 weeks, until it got really bad, and until one of my editors was just kind of like, no, you're not gonna do anything for the next week, you need to take a break. And she was speaking from her experience, because her mother had depression, so she could recognize what was happening with me even when I was not recognizing it. So yeah, my biggest advice is take time off, communicate what is going on. Your work is never gonna be as good if you're gonna be tired and stressed and anxious and depressed as if you're gonna be rested and motivated and inspired. So just try to find that balance that works for you. And if you have any tips, please do comment below. And I think this is it for today. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and Happy New Year! If you're watching in real time, because yeah, it's New Year in a couple of days. So thank you again, and see you next time. Bye!